So if this sounds like you, keep watching. You're putting your music out, but nobody's listening. You feel stuck and don't know what's stopping you from growing. You think you need a label or a team or money to break through. So if any of these statements ring true to you, you're missing the one thing that every successful artist understands about music. It's not because the industry is against you, it's because you haven't created real value yet. Or at least not in the way that matters today. But by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why artists fail, how to create real value in your music, and what you can do to finally move forward. And if you want this full step-by-step guide to artist development to do for yourself, you can download it for free in the link below. But before we dive into exactly how to build a career as an artist, let's get one thing clear. Your music needs to be undeniable. No amount of marketing will ever save a bad song. And let's talk about value. For decades, value in the music industry was defined by physical ownership. If you wanted to hear a song, you had to buy it. A vinyl in today's money may be £20, a CD, £10, an MP3 maybe £1. Then streaming changed everything. You didn't need to own music anymore in order to have access to it. You have access to all of the music you could ever want. But there's something else that changed the value of music too, the sheer amount of it. Think supply and demand. When something's rare, it's valuable. When it's everywhere, its value drops. And today, there's more music than ever before being released. The audience doesn't need your song. They have millions to choose from. So if you want to break through as an artist, you have to do one thing, and one thing only. Create valuable music. And there's a technique for this, called artist development. And labels used to develop artists. A&Rs would find raw talent, see potential, and invest in artists and build careers around them. They'd see unbeatable talent that they could monetize, and they'd build that career. But this doesn't happen anymore. Because of streaming and the way music is consumed, labels are no longer in the business of developing artists. They're in the business of betting on artists who are already winning.
Listen,
I think that the real best of the best, there's an inbuilt determination. You kind of look at them sometimes and you think, you're a train, you're going, whether people get on or off, you're going. I think the best ones have that.
Okay, so imagine walking into a bookies or opening up one of the many betting apps on your phone. You've got insider information. Maybe a certain player is injured. Maybe you already know which horse or which team is going to win. You put all that money on them, right? That's exactly how labels think today. Labels are investors. They put huge resources and money behind artists, but only when the risk is low enough for them. And they expect a huge return on that investment. They're not going to gamble on someone with no audience. They're looking for proof that there's already a demand for the music that the artist is creating. So if you want to get signed, you need to create value first. And if you don't want to get signed and you just want to build a fan base, then the same rules apply.
So if I could give any artist or any band, the greatest key is build your fan base. Demonstrate that you've sold 5,000 CDs.
Whether it's for labels or fans, you are responsible for creating value first. But what actually makes music valuable? Well, we can't control the supply, it's infinite, but we can control two things. The quality or the value, making the music connect with that audience, and the demand, getting people to actively seek out your music. By the way, if you want a step-by-step artist development guide that goes through all of the details that I'm going to talk about today, but in more detail, I'll put a free link in the description below. Okay, back to value. There are two key elements to valuable music: objective value and subjective value. Let's talk about objective value first. Think about fast food. A Five Guys burger and a McDonald's burger both sell well, but they have completely different values. Five Guys' value is in its freshness. Every burger is made to order. McDonald's value is in its speed and consistency. If I want a good, juicy burger, McDonald's is worthless to me. But if I need something quick in a foreign country, I don't necessarily care about how fresh something is made. I just want a Big Mac. Music works in the same way. Objective value isn't about how good a song is, it's about how well it fits with the listener's needs. If someone wants a high-energy track to work out to, a slow ballad is completely worthless to them in that moment. And if someone is driving at night and just wants some deep house vibes, a pop-punk track has no value for them in that context. But here's where most artists get it wrong. It's not just about fitting a moment, it's about emotional alignment. And that's where subjective value comes in. A mistake that I see artists making all the time is that they focus on the wrong part of the production process. And this mistake is usually driven by their ideas of what is charting now or what is becoming successful right now. And they focus all of their energy there to try and replicate success from the sound of something. If you're making a 90s inspired pop house crossover, you need to deliver on that nostalgic feeling. That means picking the right sounds, using the right sort of techniques and processing to make it feel authentic. And if your mix is weak or your arrangement is off, the audience won't connect to it because it doesn't sound like what they expected. The way it's produced, performed, and presented, that's what makes people feel something. And by starting with the music, we can make sure the entire messaging and story across the rest of your brand is in deep alignment. And that's exactly how the labels operate today. But if labels aren't developing artists, how do they know who to sign? Well, simple. They track all the data. They use data analytic tools like Chartmetrics, which literally sends weekly reports to labels predicting which artists are on the edge of blowing up based on playlist placements, viral spikes, and social trends. Labels aren't guessing. They're bidding on artists who are already winning. And this is where the other side of artist development comes in, building a narrative on social media. Music alone isn't enough. The artists that break through today all have one thing in common. People don't just like their music, they connect with it emotionally. Right now, the #1 song on the global Shazam dance charts is by an artist who was unsigned 6 months ago. She wrote music for years. She almost quit, but her family encouraged her to eventually release the music that she had been sitting on for years. Her sister posted songs on TikTok. One of them in particular blew up. Then, labels in the UK started a bidding war to sign her. The audience validated the song before the industry did. That's how the industry works. Your job is to create the spark. The labels and the rest of the industry is just to pour gasoline on the fire. And even if you don't want to be signed by a major label, this strategy gives you options because it puts the power back in your hands. And I know this is a lot to take in. Remember, I've put this exact document that we're looking at right now as a free download. The link is in the description. Now go and create something valuable and make sure people hear it.